I'm Tamara Woods. Um, I have been, so I moved to Georgia in 2003. This was the compromise. I went to school in Nashville, but I actually grew up in Texas. But both of my parents are from, my dad grew up in Atlanta and my mom grew up in Powder Springs. And so I didn't want to go back to Texas after graduating from college. And my dad was like, "You're not staying in Nashville." So all of the extended family is here in the Atlanta area. And so this was the compromise. So that's how I ended up here. Immediately after high school, though, like literally, that I
Mhm.
graduated from high school in '99 and graduated from college in 2003. So the land that we currently have over on Atlanta Street, I still call it Grandma's house, although Grandma's no longer here. So Grandma's house, when mom used to go visit that space of land to go see her grandma. And so mom has plenty of stories of growing up on Florence Road. And the what I envision when she tells those stories is back in the day, like what I envision the country being like, where the houses were all spread out and, it was almost a mile before the next person. But it was interesting. It probably wasn't a mile because they still knew each other. And so like the different families, like one of the families that I hear often is her, she talks about the Glovers. They had a tight relationship. And they would actually like in movies when they would run and um play with the train, or like their one of the highlights of the day was the train. And so they would wait for the train to come and they would run and wave at the conductor and stuff like that. So she grew up over on Florence Road. And so when she can, it's interesting, the tree, there's a tree that was very like in her memory. She can remember where that tree was. It was around about in the area where the park and ride is now, but we can ride up and down Florence Road, and she remembers what it was like before it got to the point where it is now. And I just love listening to their stories. There is a room that they have dedicated to Luke Penn. That was my great grandfather. My mom went to Lemon Street. I think so. Grandma Doris Penn Turner had 12 children. I don't know how many of the 12 went to Lemon Street. I do know that the boys went. Greg and Slim. I'm sure that Greg and Alvin went to Lemon Street. I think that Slim might have went. I'm not sure that Dexter did. But yeah, mom went to Lemon Street, and she was one of the first students when desegregation happened. She was amongst the first um, to step foot on the campus of McEachern High School.
What was her experience of that from what she's told you?
So it was different. She talks about the contrast of the experience. What I remember, mom told stories about how she was rebellious on the bus. So she wouldn't necessarily keep up or not easily go along with the rules of riding the bus. But she does talk about the difference of it being I guess having the black teachers and them pushing and supporting and encouraging. She doesn't talk bad about her McEachern teachers, so it's not like they weren't. I feel like Miss Lindley might have been a teacher. But what's interesting about like these names, so like Coach Ford, Miss Lindley, those different names that are streets and things around the city and buildings around the city. My mom knew these people. Like they were in their classrooms, but there was a home ec teacher that she had a real good relationship with. So she doesn't talk bad about it. At least not from the teachers. That's as I think about it, I don't recall her ever, and I don't know if it's that it didn't happen. But I don't recall her saying anything bad about her when when desegregation happened. The interaction with the teachers. I remember some rebellious stories about what went on the bus, and some other places, but overall, but the other part of it too is that grandma was a housekeeper, and so a lot of the families in Powder Springs they knew the Turner family, and they loved Miss Doris, and that's one thing that I remember um, about Mom's funeral. The city of Powder Springs, I really felt like they came out for her funeral, and I'm about to get teary. I am currently a member of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Commission here in Powder Springs. And the way that that happened was as a result of grandma's funeral. So many people came and said such great things about my grandma. And I was like, wait a minute. There are people who love grandma besides us. And they said some really amazing, they had some great memories of grandma. And so I felt like um, I got involved in the city because I wanted to continue her legacy. Um, the people of Powder Springs really love my grandma. And so that's how I ended up getting active and involved. Was for that reason. And I'll be honest with you, there have been times where I was like, you know what, I don't know if I still have time um to volunteer on this. I have so much going on. But then when I remember my why, that's what keeps me connected.